Hello everyone, welcome to another week of MMO Concept Art and Design. My name is Steve Curtis, and tonight we're going to start out with our usual of going to Wolf and looking at what he's got for us. Kick that over to you, sir.
Alright.
I am no longer a presenter. Yay!
Alright, this is what you saw last time, which I no longer like. I like something about this, but I don't know.
Like I
Anyway,
said, there were elements.
yeah. Anyway, I did a lot of research, time consuming, and then I did a fair amount of drawing concepts. But what I did a lot of thinking as well. I'm trying to figure out, better understand how things need to be positioned so there's movability. Uh, uh, like, can the arm be raised, or is it fixed? You know, is it can they bend? It's like right here, if this is all solid, this guy's not going to be able to bend very well.
Yeah.
He's going to have one place to bend, and it's going to be kind of awkward. Um, so just mobility, and which it's a huge part of the functionality of what armor can do for you. So I'm gonna show you what I did, and then before I explain it, go into that, I would like your first thoughts, and then I'll go into it, and then I'd like more thoughts, if that pleases the court.
Oh, the court is very displeased.
Displeased?
No, give him thoughts, guys.
Oh no, yeah, here, okay, here you go.
Trying to decide which ones I like best.
Just say, give me a second to look at them all. Jeez.
I think I like the last one the best so far.
This one?
Yep.
I don't know, I like elements of
Which one do you like?
few.
Oh, you like a few.
Yeah, like I will take several parts and Frankenstein it all together.
Yeah, right. This is just all I've gotten so far. I have a lot more in my head, but I just it's been really, really hot. I haven't wanted to spend a lot of time at my computer.
I kind of like the idea with 4 and 5 along the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two.
All right. This one, I don't like how that turned out, but I decided I'd show it anyway. What are the ones that you'd Frankenstein together, Sergio?
Well, I like, for example, let me see. I was watching other thing. For example, I like the belt and some of the underlying elements of number 2, and I like,
This?
well, yeah, the second one.
Oh.
The kind of belt that it forms with the 2 blue stones, that I kind of like, and I like, where is it? The shoulder pads on the last three, yeah. On the last one, I particularly like the lower part of the not the abdomen, sorry, the rib cage.
Right here.
Yeah, that element I like.
That's the same as
It's
these
the
ones.
same, yes, I know, but
I think it's the most visible in the last one. Like the cool crystally elements are more visible in that one than they are on the other ones. Just,
Well, these
just
ones-
to put the
I do
contrast
like-
with the rest of the armor.
These ones kind of have they have a shine on them because I envision these as a light source, but I didn't bother to do it for all of them.
For the record, yeah, I do like the glowy bits.
Yeah. No, it's
yeah, I mean, it's something that you can put, and I really like, but you have to be careful not to turn it into a Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, I mean it's I didn't want to spend it too much time on it. I wanted to get the idea across.
No, it's okay
Yeah.
there. I mean, if you're gonna use that,
Right.
it's not that bad there. I mean, it's not bad at all.
So we shouldn't make them red and green crystals then?
Well, they need to be flashy.
You especially don't want to flash them in like a sequence like ants, because then people will be like, "Oh God, what are you doing?"
Well, they can have a musical sound and flash, right?
As long as it's a Christmas song, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, we could set it up to
Jingle
like
bells?
Christmas themed. Yeah, they could dance around to Christmas music around Christmas time, and their armor could flash like Christmas lights. It'd be pretty sweet.
Oh.
Steve, what about you? You've been silent.
I particularly like the
I'm
concept.
sorry,
Go ahead.
I was buying
Let
time
Sergio,
to...
let Sergio finish and then.
No, I particularly like the contrast in the second row. Well, there is one in the upper one too, but the second and the third, between the blue crystals underneath, let's say the blue armor underneath, and the darker armor on top. I really like that contrast.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Steve?
Low on detail and heavy.
Well,
Yeah.
you gave it back to Sergio, and Sergio sucked the wind right out of my sails, because I was going to say I actually didn't like the high detail armor. I liked like the fourth one on the bottom row, where the armor itself was lower contrast compared to the base suit or armor. Because I really like that blue and brown base suit.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So you like, say, these three or these two better than, say, these three?
Yeah, I could see grabbing some elements, like some of the crystal work from, say, the last three, but like the fourth one on the bottom row is probably my favorite. I could see doing a little bit like if you took the color elements from the end of the first row and added it to that one. But not
This?
Yeah, but not the extra armor. Or as much of the extra armor.
But just like color and different things? You mean like
Well, all
the
right,
blue?
If you take the last one of the first row
Uh-huh.
and get rid of that abdomen armor
Uh-huh.
and strip down the waist armor a little bit, size it down a little, then you're kind of like, and darken it, then you're kind of like right where I would like it.
Interesting. You know, it's funny because I had this weird feeling that you would be drawn to ones like this. Just you, Steve, in particular. Like,
What are you trying to say, Wolf?
Nothing. don't really know why that was, but I thought, because it kind of has this look for like a bulletproof vest or something. Like it was all made of stuff that
Like
wasn't
Kevlar or
completely,
something.
like it could be something like that that's kind of bendable, which it would have to, which I found out like it wasn't, this was just a base for me, but when I was doing it, but I realized that it was meant to be for the hard armor, but I later realized that the movement of his arm is severely limited in a bad way. If that doesn't bend, he can't reach out, he can't reach up. He basically can just attack from his elbow and not his shoulder. So that's not good if it doesn't bend. So that's why I adjusted this. I think actually something, maybe it's here, maybe it's here, I don't know. I adjusted. I made this like this is thinner than it actually had to be, and so I adjusted it again. But anyway, you can't see it because it's covered with stuff. All right. Huh? Did you want to say something?
No, you just made me giggle.
For what?
Because because it's covered in stuff.
Yeah. I think it's because it's like there's something alien and something it looks something more modern, looks like it almost looks like he could be a cop, except maybe this area is a little weird, but for a cop, but you would want something hard to protect there. I mean, I think alien men are probably much like human men in that regard. Even if you can grow back body parts, it probably just wouldn't feel very good. So would it be, you'd want to avoid that if you could.
And also, John has hopped in and said he likes the bottom right. And he also likes the gauntlets from the third and the fourth one.
It's up here.
I thought John was going to have a make this week. What happened?
I don't know, I just asked. It appears he does not.
I don't know, but when he comes on here and he doesn't sound exactly like Steve, it's totally going to freak me out. Yeah, okay. No, I kind of step you through this.
No.
I was trying to make...
No,
What?
I don't have him in here at all. I think we lost you.
Oh. Yeah. We did kind of lean into him a little hard then. Yeah, so this is I'm thinking, like, I was thinking about organic armor, and thinking like this could, I kind of think of it as something almost like jello-y, like some kind of almost liquidy type thing, but that has gotten firm or something, but that could work like leather or Kevlar in a way, and so this is armor that's protecting all that to some degree, but it's still it's going to lessen the impact, but it's a little bit more, so you don't get cut and stuff, so you're going to want harder stuff, so that's why you'd put armor on over that. And then here, the only reason why I even colored this is just to show, so that you would be able to see this. Yeah, because otherwise it's going to all kind of blend together. So so I colored that. So none of the, it's like, and this like this doesn't mean that this is necessarily going to be light and this is going to be dark. I'm just making it different so you can tell the different things here, different pieces. So here these things I like. I like what the side stuff is doing. I don't like the torso, the breastplate stuff at all. Like this, I was thinking kind of more like a chainmail type thing. Just around the neck, but I don't really like how it's looking. But it's not very detailed and it's not very chainmail like. So that could be part of the issue. But anyway, like I do kind of like the contrast and simplicity of that. But like I said, it would have to be a bendable material. This I like the spiky stuff of that, and this I like this a lot down there, and I like that it glows with magic, and there's a crystal thing here. Actually, I could. So, and the crystals there to, that fits with what we're saying, but it's not just a crystal. There's also other things going, so it looks like it. I mean, it looks like it's somewhere in between technology and something magical and alien. So I kind of like that. The one thing that I began to question is because I had pictured these kind of being fastened to the armor by these things as well. These things, but if they are, it would kind of have to be, if they're this thick and in the position that they are, at least it would have to be stretchable for you to be able to move your arm about and for it to not lock that in. So as far as like the armor underneath would, I think would, well, at least especially, I'll say over here, like I have these pads here, and I'm not 100% on how well they're going to work if this guy sticks his hand straight out towards us. Is that going to? I know this is gonna come out too, but is it? If he tries to move it a little bit this way, is that going to bend into the armor and keep him from bending? But it might just be that that's only an extreme bend, and he doesn't really need to do that, so it might be okay. And then obviously all these this kind of spiky thing would need to be stretchy here, otherwise he couldn't raise his arm, because this shoulder plate thing would not be able to rise up. So I mean, it could be stretchy, which would be interesting, because I mean, this is alien technology and stuff, and it could be made out of stuff that we can't really understand, and so it could be something that's very durable and yet a little stretchy. So and then for this abdomen plate thing, it's more something that's some kind of bendable thing, whether it's like leather or some kind of cloth linen type fabrication thing, whatever. It's so that's going to bend, but then these are metal plates sewn into it, so or magicked into it, as it might be. So that makes it a little more. It's a little more protective, but it also gives room for it to bend, so he can do a lot of bending. And then these are more little metal plates, and these are two metal plates that at the top here that kind of that plate armor thing, kind of like Romans had, where a lot of them, they had these plate things, and they actually had them up here, and it was I guess how it works is as you bend, like the bottom part of like the first one pushes into the top part of the second one, so that rises up a little bit, and then eventually that pushes into the next one, and because of that you'll actually have a little bit more room to bend. It's just what it seemed like that it was saying to me, what I was reading about it, and just thinking it through, I could see how that could kind of work. So yeah, there's some questions about mobility still. I think this is a good one, as far as it not it doesn't have the same issues as far as how is this this is pinning this down, and it gives room for the shoulder to move around and stuff, and this is, yeah, I'm imagining that this would probably be attached with something like a strap, some kind of strap of some kind, so this could rise and stuff. It wouldn't just be fixed there, so he could move his arm up and stuff. Yeah, move the shoulder. So know exactly how that works. But anyway, I've been trying to think a lot about movement and stuff, and maybe I don't know. I mean, you look at this and looks maybe you think kilt or something, but if you look at most of the armors, they did have a part that would hang down, and which it really is kind of the most effective and kind of smart way of doing that without with anything shy of say the Iron Man full bodysuit thing. But so that's why I was going there, but I'm still planning on trying different things there. So anyway, I like this stuff. It's I guess maybe, Steve, you think it's a little too.
No, I like some of the blue stuff. I'm less sold on the old looking armor.
When you say old, do you mean this part down here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a civilization that's been around longer than us, and would generally consider itself superior and far more advanced, I'm just not sure I'm sold on following some of those design aesthetics.
Well, the thing is, it's that you either get something like this, so you can move your legs, and you get something like this to protect that area, or you just go, they don't really care, and you can throw that out, or you have something that hangs down to protect, which actually, I mean, it's like, if it doesn't, it's got all these metal plates in it, so it weighs it down, so it's not like every time they're moving it's flapping up and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's and especially for range stuff, uh, it's something that's over there and protecting, but I don't know, and this makes sense. It's also, I don't know, it's a little Eon Flux or something, cartoon, not the movie. Yeah, it's like so. There's three options: nothing, this. No, wait. There's four options. Sorry, nothing is an option. There's nothing. There's this. There's something like this where there's hanging, or you have something that's a full body suit where everything is, there's all these little different pieces, but they're all fastened together in some way, like the like Iron Man suit or something. No, I don't think there's really another way. I mean, it's like not that you can go this and then have pads here, but you were also talking about you liked having areas without the the armor, like spaces, and
Yeah.
so I mean this makes sense. I mean you want more than especially melee fighters, more than anything they're going to want some kind of wrist guard thing, and if they break that arm, that's the wrist is very fragile, and they can no longer fight, so got that. And I don't know. I mean, you could be carrying a shield or having a shield arm or thing. I don't know, but things to kind of block. And then you have, you want to protect this area from being cut, as it's big arteries there, and of course you want, this area, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did you like? I think this part looks. Well, I think this whole thing looks good down here, but I mean, it does make it look a little old-fashioned, but I don't know that that's a bad thing, especially if you can combine kind of alien with kind of old-fashioned with something that might almost look like technology or something, like that combination, I think is nice. I mean, it's like you never had warriors on Earth that had this weird organic body armor thing, underneath. So I mean, it's but like I said, I'm going to try different things, but I don't know. I'm not sure if removing this part, like just seeing that part, that doesn't bother you, right, Stu?
I mean, I don't know if I'd remove everything. I think I might remove the abdomen piece.
Really?
Yeah. Just
Why is that?
just from an aesthetic point of view,
So
not from
you mean so it's
necessarily a functional point of view.
Yeah.
just like this?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's already armor there, so you don't really need to double up on the armor, and doubling up the armor on the abdomen, since that's a mobile, something that needs to move, might not be the best idea anyway.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's a little more stiff, but it should have full movement, I think, with because it's space. Like the biggest thing is having these big plates. I mean, it's added stuff, but you have these big plates. So a bullet hits here, you're not going to feel it like if it hits here or if it hit in the middle here. But
I don't know, Wolf. I just don't like it. I don't know what else to tell you.
no, that's
but
fine.
yeah, I might remove that piece and then just play around with the design of the waist piece. Maybe try and tighten it up a little bit, or bring some of the colors more in line. Maybe I'd like it better if
right.
some of the aesthetics match some of the rest of the armor. I don't know, but I really
Right.
don't like the abdomen piece.
Yeah, well, it's like right now with the colors. This is very separate. It's not, but it's not designed to be like this is going to be super light and this is going to be super dark. I haven't considered those things yet. I'm just getting the shapes of that. But yeah, I think that does throw it off a little bit if you're seeing that. I know it's hard. It's harder since I've introduced colors. It's harder not to. You take more note of things like that, but I only introduce the colors to make it read a little bit better.
And I mean, I think with the waist area, if you did more of like those organic, like spiny shapes with like the blue in between them, in terms of like the leg areas, like it was like powered.
Oh,
Like what
this
you've got
stuff?
like on the bottom of the chest and that stuff there.
Yeah.
If you brought more of that into like the belt area and maybe some of the stuff hanging down.
Yeah, could be in the
Yeah.
belt area. Yeah, I guess it could be on the sides here.
Like make him like a utility pouch almost kind of thing. That way it looks more
Yeah.
modern. But yeah, I definitely think if you're going to have something there, it needs to be more than just a Speedo, because wearing like the Speedo armor over the other armor doesn't make much sense, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like the thing, I mean, because
It's kind of like
this is soft armor and this is something that's hard. So I mean, it's like wearing leather pants and going, oh, I don't need to wear a cup in in this sport or something.
yeah, but I don't know. I would think that your underwear should be more on the inside.
Yeah, I
That's
think we'll get made
like-
fun of if we have a Speedo, but
Right. No. Yeah, but that's.
or I guess if it's a metal Speedo would be more of a chastity belt, but
Well, I also put this here going. This was actually a step in like
yeah.
the design.
this. It would be here
Yeah.
and something else could be over it, but this is the basic stuff. I was filling out at first, but it's like if we do all of this stuff, like say all of one of these designs, but leave this area like this, will be made fun of as well.
Yeah, I think we need some sort of decoration there, but it needs to be simpler than the underlying armor, because the underlying armor is so complex. Like, there's just not enough it's like using like 5 or 6 different fonts and then like a document. It just
Right.
looks funny because you have too much there.
Yeah,
It's
you
also-
need to have a rest in the design.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right now, and I think it looks good the way it's colored, but that's by no means meant to be, meant to actually mean anything except, maybe. But I mean, this could also be, say, if all this stuff was done in other blues or something, or if everything was done in different
well,
tones of green or something, it'd be a lot more subtle. And
color
so it's
aside
like right
is-
now, the color helps it be as loud. If you couldn't see it as much, you wouldn't. It wouldn't. It would blend into one thing a little bit more. But I'm just saying that's.
But I
understand it's very
regardless
busy.
of the colors that you use, that's a fairly busy design.
Right.
Just
I'm just saying-
aesthetically, so.
The way I did it right now, makes it much busier than it needs to be. I mean, if you just look at like the difference between this, this is much busier than that, and this could be a lot less busy if these tones were closer together.
Yeah, I think if you're going to put like really complex, detailed armor over it, you definitely need to like decrease
Yeah.
the contrast
Right.
between darks and lights in that armor, and
Right.
it'd probably be monochromatic almost, like with maybe little
Right.
splashes of color instead of green and yellow or blue and yellow.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. And it might. The thing is like, there's no reason to say all of these have to be the same color. So, if we have different armored suits, there might be ones where it's something a little bit more like this, and ones that something a little bit more like this. So.
I mean, if it's like the default armor that goes under all the other armor, you're probably going to want to keep it monochromatic or have like the players pick like a color or two, just probably monochromatic to start with, like, or even like the grayscale thing, and then do the colored armor on top,
Right.
just so when you're changing out armor types, it's
Right. I was actually implying that it would change with the armor types. You put different armor types, and then it would be a different. We would just put a different color on. But yeah, I mean it's all just options. Anyway, I mean this is, yeah, I think it works. I think it's pretty cool. But it could always be toned down if we thought it should be toned down. I mean, there could be less of these blue areas, and there could be like these stuff could be a lot closer in tone to
Yeah, I mean, I might bring
to
the
the
color
base thing.
tones a little closer together. Design-wise, that's actually my favorite piece on here.
Yeah.
Is the undersuit.
Cool. I mean, it's like this is enough. Like I think, like this is enough to be an arm. I'd want to do a little bit more to it, but I mean, I could, I could make stuff that seem to, like these stuff are in, everything else is in contrast to it. I could make stuff that seems like it's more in tone, maybe made out of similar stuff, but for the like harder pieces, or something a little here to make it a little bit more interesting. But even without that, I think this could be this could be functioning armor. So light armor. This could there could people who just wear suits that are like this or similar. Is what I think. Although, like I said, I think it would be heightened to at least have, a little something on the chest area, and maybe a little something on the wrist areas, the forearm area.
I don't know. I mean, I could see that as a base suit. I mean, it's reminiscent of like the Crytek power suit, where it's not heavily armored, but I see these guys as relying on their own speed and strength and stealth, and less on armor than we do.
Yeah, but since it's a game, I think that's we should probably we could lean in that direction, but there should also be at least some kind of heavier stuff, even if it's more mild like that one. But because I mean, it's like otherwise there's no tank class on the Elitian side. There's only on the human side.
Well, I'm not saying they shouldn't have armor. I'm just saying I could see that suit as a base level
Yeah.
of armor without buffing it anymore.
Yeah. So, what do you guys all think about this base suit? Do you think it's great the way it is, or do you think it could use some refining or to try other things or what?
Maybe you'd use a little bit of refining. Maybe instead of like the larger like black crystal-y shapes, maybe you could try to bring some of those like glowy crystals from the bottom of those chest plate pieces and the last couple pieces of armor into that base suit. That way you put all the glowy crystals underneath, and then you can do the heavier armor on top of it.
So you mean like this kind of stuff on here?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff on there.
These stuff
Nice,
right
yeah.
here aren't glowy crystals. This is like I have this kind of feeling that these are kind of more like, it's almost, you know, not like ice, but it's almost like some kind of liquid thing that's kind of that's hardened in some way, and these are I don't know, they're kind of creating these in it. You know, it's like they're not separate things. They're part of this, but they're just kind of like like this first one is this one right in the middle isn't a great example, but you see like these ones, it kind of goes down, like kind of is pulled down by gravity a little bit. It's not like bubbles, but it's like something. You know, maybe it's just little concentrated areas or something.
So like the Alethian version of a trauma plate or something?
I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with trauma plates.
It's basically just really dense bullet-resistant material. They cover the heart and vital organs and stuff like that. Gives you a little bit more protection than just the vest.
Yeah, I mean, as far the blue areas are supposed to be you know, a little bit harder protection than this, than like than all the other stuff. Like, but also this lighter stuff here is supposed to be more protective than that base brown stuff. But the blue I was thinking would be the closer to being solid, but it's all like blendable, you know, like it's not really what am I looking for? Not really jelly, but like I don't know.
It's like a reinforced section of the suit, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit, yeah. But it's not like it's not a full solid thing.
Gotcha.
But anyway, I think, and then these spots are more like spots where since it's like kind of an organic thing. It's thinking of spots where things have kind of come together in a little bit of thickness, and I don't know if that means that there's spots of more protection. Probably not, but it's just like whatever the chemicals and stuff in there. Some of it are clumping together a little bit, and they're kind of like I don't know if it's a liquid form. And maybe it starts off as a liquid and quickly, you know, kind of almost, you know, hardens to an extent, or if it's still like, you know, if these would be kind of slowly floating around, and you know, but I was imagining a little bit more like it's hardened, but yeah, I thought, you know, gravity would take them down. This one's too uniformed. I don't know why I did that like that, but maybe I started with this one before I kind of got in. But you see, the rest it's more, you know, a lot of these are organic, and gravity is pulling them down.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was more of trying to make it an organic looking thing versus you know, trying to make it look like it's crystal-y or something. I don't know, like it was like not just more detail for detail's sake or something. I guess I don't know what I'm looking for. But but what someone was saying, I think it was Chisba, that you think like this stuff, or did you mean like the crystals? Crystal should be on this.
Yeah,
Something
I
with
was
that.
thinking instead of like
That could
looking
be a
like
good look.
organic sacks, like more like a glowy metallic, like crystal powered magic thing. So you have like the crystals going through like the metal lattice, like on the very bottom, or maybe like the spine areas, like you have the rest of the suit coming out of that.
The rest of the suit coming out of the spine.
Or like where you have like the like sort of spider webby organic shapes in between like a harder like crystal structure basically instead of the organic fluid. So you have like the metal around like a crystal structure for the blue areas, and then you have like sort of spider webby things coming out of those areas instead of out of the fluid.
So
I like that.
Okay.
I'm trying to. What?
Yeah, so like just that blue area, you'd put like a metal looking shape there, and do like the glowy blue crystal areas around it instead of the fluid, or like
You mean
whatever it
instead
is
of
you
this
have there.
stuff, the brown stuff, this stuff?
No, instead of the blue stuff.
In stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
instead of
So instead of all the blue stuff, or just the blue dot stuff? I mean,
instead of all the blue stuff,
All-
because I think having like the it would be hard for people to interpret the blue fluid stuff as armor. I think, like just looking at it, it seems more like a hospital kind of thing. Yeah.
hospital?
It seems like something you'd see in like a hospital where they put the suit on you with all kinds of like bags of like fluid that are getting run through the suit kind of thing. Like it seems like something
Yeah.
you'd use to like fix somebody instead of something you'd use to make armor.
Like in the healing suit.
In the healing ward, in the healing
Yeah.
suit, you know, whether you're
Yeah.
fixing somebody, you might have something that has the fluid sacks. But in armor, you'd want to at least show like radiating out of some like hard protected thing, so it might look better for it to be metal or.
So you're
crystal.
saying all these blue things get away, keep all the stuff that's under, but
Yeah.
in place, add a bunch of these things.
Yeah, and maybe not all of them would be glowing, like because like I said, you wouldn't want
Right.
it to be, or like you wouldn't want a Christmas tree kind of look, but you'd want
Right.
like maybe a couple key points to be glowing on it.
So, what about, and especially, what if I left this stuff, but I made it, like a different color, so it's not standing out as much, so there's not as big a contrast, and then added this stuff, that kind of stuff on top, maybe in a bigger way to like areas.
I don't know if you would want to add anything on top of blue stuff though, because I mean that's
No, it wouldn't be blue. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just using that as a point of
Yeah.
reference. I don't know if you'd want to add anything else to it, just between those the currently blue elements and like the yellow stuff underneath, just those two patterns, even without any color added. If you had any other sort of
noisy.
design language, it would just get way too noisy.
Right.
I think it's a good idea concept to play around with and see what you come up with.
Yeah. Right. We'll still have this anyway to look back on,
Yeah.
reflect. It's not like we're throwing out this possibility or just deleting it from
Yeah,
existence
I'm gonna
to
burn
create that
the
one.
recording. Forget it. It's all gone.
Right.
All right. Well, you certainly got some ideas on
Yeah.
what to play around with and see what you get.
What I was wanting to know what Sergio thought of that. He didn't say anything.
I like the overall design, but I agree. I will replace those. But yeah, that's how I did. I mean, that would take some experimenting to really define. Hang on. Give me a sec.
Okay. It's interesting how like the I like how everybody didn't have just one favorite. Like everybody didn't go, this is the best, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you can get
Sorry,
some
thank
idea
you.
on different
Uh,
elements. Go ahead, Sergio.
I don't remember what I was saying. Sorry.
We were talking about this one, and you said that you something about you liking the idea of getting rid of the blue ones, even though that you liked the design,
Yeah, no,
but
no, no.
like
I
kind of
mean, I like, for
replace.
example, I really like the pattern,
Uh-huh. Right.
and for example, I don't know if I will get rid of them. I will maybe lower the count a bit
Yeah.
and replace them with crystals. Uh,
Replace them.
yeah, in some parts, replace them with crystals if you like.
Oh,
So it will keep the
so you,
variation it has, but it wouldn't be.
as loud
Yeah,
with them. So you would keep some of them, but replace others with crystals.
yeah. I mean, the constitution. I mean the material. I will probably use something a bit more rigid, like Chisel was saying,
Hmm.
and maybe lower the count a bit, so it will. How can I say it? It will start to have a few rest points.
Right.
But yeah, I mean I really like the idea and I really like the patterns. Um, and this maybe comes down to personal taste, but for me it is a bit too noisy with all of them. That's why I say uh, reduce them a bit.
Yeah. I mean, part of it was I was intending for a lot of it to be covered, so it's like seems
Yeah.
less noisy here
Yeah,
where it's not
it
all
will be
covered.
something that you really don't see. That's why I really like this tree you had there, because it breaks the surface a lot. It gives you a rest.
These
The
ones,
tree
yeah,
underneath,
yeah.
the lower row,
Hmm.
those three, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a design worth exploring.
I could also do things like maybe kind of develop into this some like you said some harder thing like I could develop so maybe something more in the shape of a breastplate here, like um, like maybe with this blue stuff or something similar, and then I don't know, m- maybe something for the abs or something, like tone down how much I have here, maybe something uh, bigger in the wrist things, and if those areas were a little bit different, where they're actually showed as they uh, showed as being like something that was firm, um,
Mhm.
that that would be interesting too, especially if they were bigger. If I had some of these other ones, I don't know, like they're all kind of they're sort of similar in size too. Like, I mean, if there were smaller ones and then bigger ones like that, that might look good as well. because that would help rest the eye. It's part of the problem is that they're all of such similar size.
Yeah.
Wolf, don't tell us. Show us next week.
I think he already answered you with that. No, but I really like the overall design. I mean, it's worth exploring. It.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I would take Nick and Sergio's take. They kind of managed to summarize, I guess, the different issues that people had with different designs. So I would kind of lean that way and run with it and see what you come up with.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'll try some things. There's also, it might be interesting, instead of these places of rest, if they were actually incorporated, like instead of this, see how this goes like around the back and stuff. What if it,
Yeah.
didn't necessarily need to do that? It was in pieces and it was just attached. That, that might look good as well.
I mean, yeah, with
Throw it at me.
layering you can.
Show me the magic, buddy.
So did I bring the magic this time?
You brought the magic this time. I'll bring the magic next time too.
Every time you want the
Well,
magic.
of course I want the magic every time. All right, I know Richard's got some stuff. Nick, you got anything for me?
I've got what I'm... Nah, I don't have anything for the class. If you guys want to see my current project, you can see it, but that's about all I've got.
All right, well, we'll see where we end up. Sergio, how about you, man?
I have a bunch. Yeah. Well, not a bunch. Just improvement on what you already saw.
You got us all excited. Here you had a
He
bunch.
got me so excited I'm making him the presenter.
Oops. Okay. I did change the colors because I like this scheme a bit better.
It's a nice game.
Yeah, the other skin was a little too close to human color for me.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say skin or scheme?
Scheme.
Yeah, that's what.
Actually.
Right. Actually, I'm not sure. I can hear that either way.
It works either way. So.
The whole thing or just his tissues?
No, the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah, the scheme.
I like
yeah.
this a bit better.
I do like the redo on the waist.
Yeah, I just added a cloth underneath. The rig is actually complete, but I was thinking I might need to add a few bones to the cloth on the hip because it's really. I mean, it doesn't have enough geometry to deform correctly in some parts.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, because right now it's, I believe, with that 1800. So, yeah, I really want to add a few bones to help me control that a bit better. I don't know if there's a better way because, well, it's the first rig I actually finished.
That's a good question.
So-
Hey, Richard, add bones to it or increase geometry?
Well, I'm sort of new to rigging as well, but I would say increase the geometry and have it influenced by the leg bones because that's less babysitting for you to do later.
Yeah, no, I mean, the bones are mostly not only to help control the cloth, but also to be able to, for example, leave this hanging. If he, let me see. if I well, if I do this,
Hmm.
for any reason, I would really like to leave this hanging, and the same with the ones on the front. But I don't know.
Hmm.
You got me, Sergio.
I guess we could also see if there are any options for cloth simulation in Unity. I don't know if there are. Hey Nelson, do you think we could make one?
He's not here.
Yeah.
He's working on a secret AI project.
It's probably just as well because I would probably get killed for that.
Yeah, I know Unity's got Cloth Sim now, but I haven't played with it, and I have no idea how good it is, or what you can do with it, or how it integrates, or any of it. Of course,
Well,
by the time we actually get there, Unity 5 will be out, so who knows what we'll have to play with.
true. One thing's for sure, though. I mean, especially as far as your meshes are concerned, we definitely have some wiggle room, so you could do both. You could add some geometry and include bones.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw 1,000 polys on him, and you're still fine.
Oh. Yeah, I made it so he could rest his feet.
Yeah, that worked out better than I thought it would.
Yeah, I would really like, because I skin it so this will dry down when he lowers his talon.
Yeah, that actually turned
But
out.
yeah, I would really like to skin this a bit better so I could grab. But yeah.
But you don't really need a cloth simulator to make those the clothes hang down, right? I mean, you could rig those and pull it down. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, how natural you
Yeah,
get
well,
it.
I mean, that's what we're discussing, is whether to ring it with additional bone structure to control it, or whether to have a cloth simulation react to the rest of the bone structure.
Like,
and honestly,
I mean,
Unity, I don't know.
I mean, I guess if it was a cloth simulator, it'd all be rendered, right? So it wouldn't be more. It wouldn't take more memory
Well,
in Unity.
Well, to
cloth,
calculate it on the engine,
yeah, a cloth simulation is going to take more memory.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be calculating it in Unity. You would be calculating it when you make it.
No,
And then
a cloth simulation would be calculated in real time in Unity.
Yep.
Oh,
It would have to constantly recalculate that.
Why would you do that? I mean, that seems like, I don't think any game is, well.
Yeah.
I don't think
the trade.
you wouldn't be
There are
using
The
some.
trade-off is looks.
I don't know they're using true though.
The
What?
trade-off is looks versus the power it takes to do it.
Yeah, but
Unreal and CryEngine both use cloth simulation because they're powerful enough to do it, and because it looks really real.
I imagine they probably do something more limited than what you would, use for, something that's supposed to be for a live action.
Well, yeah, it's not like they don't do
Yeah.
cross simulation for the entire outfit.
Right.
It's just certain parts, anything that's going to be, anything that's going to be
Fine.
hanging around, like a trench coat,
Yeah.
the bottom of a trench coat or something like that. They would do a simulation on that sort of thing. Flags,
Dresses.
towers, dresses, yeah.
Yeah. They don't do
Well-
it on everything, but
Well, I mean, I don't. I'm not sure why. I mean, it's like every movement the character's going to be made is going to be something that's like maybe not pre-rendered, but I mean it'd be pre-animated in something else, right? I mean, like a walk animation and stuff. You're not using any kind of physics. You're just bringing in something that you've already.
That's only
like,
calculated for the skeleton. It has to deform the character model around the skeleton. So Unity is still doing a lot of calculations for any animation you're doing. And that includes like the cloth simulation stuff.
And that's just the nature of that.
But I mean, it seems like you could do a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're going for super realistic. So I mean, I don't know, but it seems like you can kind of imply it with less details, kind of like how they do in a cartoon, like an anime or something. You know, traditional 2D stuff. They don't make it actually behave as cloth would, but it sells it. It makes it look like it. You know,
Yeah, that's why they're talking about the bone, because that's what the bone will do. It'll be,
Right.
It won't be calculating an entire simulation. It'll just be calculating how that bone moves relative to the cloth. The problem is it's going to be hard to do bones for something that sits around his legs. Like, he'll have to add another bone to the skeleton for the animation to calculate how the front of that little kilt thingy is going to move.
Well, how does the cloth simulator work? Does it add its own bones?
No, it deforms the model based on how the other geometry underneath it is moving, so there would have to be a separate piece of geometry on top of his legs. And I mean, in terms of clothing, most games, like, if it wraps around the legs, I think it tends to be tied to the leg bones, but I'm not sure how well that would work since we have the little flap that's hanging down.
Well, for example, this is skin actually to the hip and the femurs. I mean the legs and the hip.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I pretty much did that. I mean, if I were going to do a cloth simulation, it wouldn't be on this. It would be just on the straps that hang.
Right. Still, it seems a little extreme to me. You know, it's like
You know, that's why
like, especially like so much detail. The contrast between like, oh my God, that that cloth is blowing in the wind just like crazy, and then everything else is kind of stiff and weird. You know, it's like it's
Almost every game you ever played will have like a loincloth thing if he's just talking about the top flap. If it was just that, I would say do a cloth simulation. But I almost think you should tie that geometry to the geometry to the same stuff you tied the kilt to. Just because with the cloth simulation you'll get a ton of clipping, like it'll blow inside the other geometry.
Yeah.
and it's I think it seems like that's just going to require more beefy computers to run it and have it work correctly.
Not
That
really,
seems like-
because there shouldn't be a ton of geometry in that, like,
Well, that's one thing, but it's like
yeah.
it depends on how many like characters and things you have with cloths, running realistic cloth simulators. It seems it could add up, especially not so much in the MOBA thing, but in open world thing. You can see that really.
Even like World of Warcraft, all the cloaks work cloth simulation, I'm pretty sure.
Are they?
Yeah. And when you get far enough away, it just loads up a lesser detail version that doesn't have that. But you're so far away by that point, you don't notice. So.
Well, then they probably have something else, meaning that you would have to do it both ways. You'd have to do it the way to handle at a distance and the close-up cloth.
Well,
The
generally the idea is
at a distance, they just turn off the cloth simulator, because since it wouldn't be moving, it would just be sitting flat, because it's too far away for you to see the simulation anyway.
Well,
yeah, and at that point, it's
what
also too
about
far away for you to see the clipping too. So it's just you
Well,
don't notice it.
I don't know exactly how far away you're talking about, but if it's say something like a cloak or a cape kind of a thing like that, that could look pretty weird if you go, everybody's cloak's blowing in the wind, and then you go a little or cape or whatever, and you go a little bit away, and then suddenly it goes rigid.
Well, we do some testing, but that's the idea, is that by the time it switches out to that, however we end up tackling this, by the time it does do a detail switch, you're too far away to notice.
Yeah, but I think you'd be too far away to notice in most. It's like a lot closer to like almost anything else except something that's so big as, say, like a cape or something. But yeah, eventually, if you're just like this tiny little thing in the distance, you're not going to notice. But it seems like that's already too far, like too much area to even really be worth clipping it off. If it's just like this tiny little speck. I'm exaggerating, but
The other thing to note is I'm pretty sure in Unity Free, level of detail is not active.
It's not active. You have to make your own solution, but that's not impossible.
So probably we should just, considering we're talking third person at a bit of a distance, we should probably just match the geometry to the bones.
So I leave it like this.
Basically like you have it, yeah.
would that mean that it doesn't, when you squat, it squats with you instead of hanging?
Yeah, it's going to squat with.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
I did add some weight to the hip, so kind of falls a bit, but
Well,
yeah, this is going to keep the form.
But
It,
I don't think
it
the
seems-
trade-off in time is worth the what we get out of it.
right, the
Yeah.
having to make one. But if that's what you meant, you mean having to make a simulator?
Well, having to set all that up and then the end result, although pretty, I don't think is so much better that it's going to be worth the time invested for just... Because, right now, basically it's Sergio and Richard who are going to be running rigs.
What would you do if he had a cloak or a cape on?
If he had
Because that would look really, really
if
weird.
he had a full cape, then we'd probably have to do a cloth simulation. But anywhere we don't have to, I don't think we should.
But like, it seems like you don't really need, just like basic something to just make it hang. Like you don't have to have it really flapping in the wind, but something to like,
Control it.
Generally,
bend it just a little bit. It's just like if it had three spots where you could bend it, in the middle and on the two sides, I think you could, as far as I guess, gee, I don't know how to say that, vertically or horizon, but it's so it could, like the sides could move out and stuff. And then maybe something so like the very bottom part could kind of flap out a little bit, like if they're running, like instead of you,
so what
if
you
you're
want
running.
is a cloth simulation.
Well, no,
Yeah, that's-
because
No, I mean,
that's what-
I
But
could have
I mean that's what.
isn't
a
it
few
cloth
bones.
simulations? It would the whole thing would move like that.
Okay. I have
Isn't there a lot more detail there versus just like kind of, it's sort of a little bit more stiffly moving, but it's not it's not like rippling through the wind,
you will get a lot more detail. The question is it relevant? Will the gamer
Yeah,
will
like,
the gamer
well-
care?
Yeah, if my character was running really fast and it was wearing like say a cape and it just went straight down, that would be weird. It'd also be weird if it squat and it just like clipped through the ground or something. And
You know, but
How
I
often
mean,
in combat
or
are
if
you,
it bent through my
Wolf.
legs. What?
how often are you going to see him squat in combat in the MOBA game?
I don't know.
Possibly none.
Okay, I have a solution. At least in theory.
Uh-huh.
It's not a cloth simulation, but as I understand it, I think there's a way to wire bones so that they influence other bones.
yeah,
So you could have
Right.
a skeleton set up specifically for a cape. It only affects the cape, but those bones are influenced by the other bones on the character. So when the character crouches, those bones will follow suit. And then if we go through the animation and realize there's a problem with the cape at certain points, we can adjust those areas manually by changing those specific bones. It would be a little bit more work in micromanagement, but once the job is done, you have a fully animated cape without the cost of a cloth simulator.
you know, that's why I was saying to add a few bones, because I will read, for example, one or two bones. I mean, yeah, probably three, to have a bend, so I could I could constrain those bones to the legs and the hip, and modify the weight each bone has in the constraint. So whenever I need, it will follow the skeleton and all, but whenever I need to move it, I can add controls and just tweak it. But yeah, I didn't do that because it was kind of a bit more of time, let's say. So
It was annoying.
yeah.
Like, you know, I'm just trying to understand this stuff because I'm not, you know, I don't really know how to do this stuff. So if he's walking forward or running forward and his left knee goes forward, then that cloth would go. The cloth that's like on top of his left knee would go forward with him. Yeah, so that on the top that it goes with him. Now, is there a way to, like, when you start to back away, that it just for a moment the cloth like like
Trails back.
yeah, trails back, like it gets, like it pushes it like away, so it doesn't like stick to it for a second and then it kind of comes back into sticking to it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Something like that, the easiest way to do that would be through fabric simulation, but that's one of those things, like particularly with this outfit, it's not really free enough that you would notice.
Yeah, I'm just, I it's not necessary for this outfit, but I was just wondering.
Yeah.
In general, I mean, it's like you could.
Yeah, if you wanted to have.
I mean, that same stuff could apply to the hanging areas.
If you wanted to have any kind of inertial residual motion when a character stops, that's done through simulation, or an incredibly detailed animator. And
Well, I mean, honestly, like if he puts his leg back down and you want a cape or this cloth or whatever it is to swish back and forth with the movement, then a simulation becomes the cheapest way to get that look. But that's way more detailed than we need for a third-person game.
Right. Right. I'm trying to. I'm not saying that should happen right there. And it's mainly, I was thinking, as it applies to bigger things. But like it seems like, I don't know, even animating it in a way that isn't like, oh, that's a great cloth thing, you know. I mean, it's like in a way that's not gonna fool people that's, ooh, that looks like real cloth or something.
Well, no,
but,
you can, but that gets back to where I was talking about the time versus the gain of the result. You absolutely can animate that by hand so that that cloth looks extremely realistic. But Sergio, for instance, we had Sergio doing it. Call
yeah.
Sergio again in 6 to 8 months, and maybe
Yeah.
he'll have the animation done for this character. Maybe, you know, it's
Yeah.
And then if we add one to it, oh, we have this animation that wasn't here before. It's going into an expansion. Well, that's another few weeks of animation to get the cloth
Yeah.
to behave.
and that's why game engines have pushed so hard to make their cloth simulation work well,
Right.
is because it saves so much
So they don't
time.
have to do that.
But
Okay.
it is expensive in terms of processing.
All
And
right.
if this were
I-
first person, I'd probably get a little bit more serious about getting some of that done because you were going to get a lot of up close views. But third person MOBA, people run. I mean, you saw even with the test casting all those spells. I couldn't even see my own character half the time.
I did not see it.
Oh yeah, you did not. But
Yeah.
yeah, with everybody
Uh-huh.
throwing spells and things everywhere and running around as
Uh-huh.
fast as they could, you're never going to see
Right.
some cloth clipping. Not ever.
Yeah, the only reason I ended up not seeing my character very much is because I spent most of the time dead.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I just thought maybe that there was some kind of a cheat kind of way of making it
Well, the cheat way is
do that without the cheat, not cheat. You know, if you didn't get that, but like without like making it try and look realistic, but just kind of, I don't know. I wasn't sure.
yeah. Well, both the cheat and the cheap way is exactly the way he's got it now, and then it's just stepping up from there. The next cheapest way to get a good result is for him to add bones to that existing mesh. And then the most expensive way but best looking is the cloth sim.
I did separate it, the pieces so you could hide them. Well, not that one. If you want.
Oh, nice.
And I did
Yeah, I was going to ask to see the sword that you threw back there.
yeah, because I was toying around with something to add to him because I was trying to figure out how will you make these weapons, and mostly the look of it. But yeah, I ended up liking this, and I went to ZBrush, and
Oh, nice.
the blade is not really well done, but yeah, I did it pretty
sorry.
fast. So
Based on what?
Yeah.
well, you can see the changes in values indicates that the blade is not the surface is not straight. It's really wobbly.
It looks dangerous to me.
It looks like a hammered sword to me,
Yeah.
having held a few
No.
actual katanas.
Well, for example, this surface here is a lot cleaner, and I mean, I would really like for this to be the same, but working something this thin in ZBrush is
Gotta be tough.
Well, maybe it's in
Yeah.
mid wobble, like somebody's wobbling it back and forth, testing it out. Speaking of which, can we have a simulator for wobbling the sword?
Really, Wolf? Really?
I don't understand this stuff. Explain it.
Well, I mean, the projection is actually done really quick too, but kind of holds. I kind of like it. I haven't added color yet to it, but
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of holds, Sergio.
Okay, I think I really need to get ZBrush.
Right?
well, here you have the color separated like in the other ones. In all the maps, pretty much. In here, for example, you have the eyes separated as well. I don't know why it did that. Ah, there we go. It went all blank for some reason. Um, but yeah, you could because you told me that if you had it in a separate layer, you could made it so you could change it in engine.
I could change what?
The color.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I separated the eyes too.
Yeah, perfect.
This one I haven't touched that much yet, but yeah, let's see. Wow, there we go. This is the human, and I did one with the concept that Wolf did. Let me see.
The human?
Do the lithium.
Oh.
I just modified a bit the one I already had, but I don't know if, and I added this because I don't know.
Cool.
I wanted
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty BA. I do like that rib cage. just because it
Yeah.
makes it less human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It's not that detailed, but
They were already getting the point across.
yeah.
I keep having to ask this. Not detailed compared to what?
Well, for example, let's see. And this is a stupid example because this is really simple to add, but for example, all of this, I mean, this is something I'm going to project, so I would like to have it a bit more detailed. I mean, like adding the tendrils, I don't have the tablet connected right now, so I can't really show, but this is all too blurry.
Yeah.
So I will, if I were going to take this to max and to project it and all, not to model it because I mean when you're modeling you don't need to add all these wrinkles, but well, when I'm going to project it, I would like it to be a little more crisp, more defined.
Okay.
I understand where
And
you're
you-
going, but we compliment your work.
Yeah, no. In fact, for this one, I could even use the same mesh, just move the birds around, except for this part, of course, and this, because in a profile you will lose that. But
Also,
Can I see the legs?
I hadn't noticed it right away, but I'm loving the knuckle spikes.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Oh,
I
cool.
noticed
I
nobody
don't want
else
to get
picked up
punched
on
by
that
him.
here. It's like, ooh, that's wicked.
Yeah. The female I didn't got around to finish, but mostly because I was uh, trying to get this to a point you could use it. So yeah, I would probably toy around with the colors or something, but for the most part, if the rig is going to stay the way it is, it's pretty much done.
Alrighty, who's going to animate it?
And I particularly like the result in the when he's resting. Um, where did I? He's almost the same height than the human.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes him less
For a
intimidating.
mobile, yeah, and imagine, imagine
That
a
he
human
raises up.
face. Yeah,
That's
but I don't
Yeah,
know.
that did end up being a nice touch. I didn't even think about that.
about what?
About how it would change the intimidation value when we
Uh-huh.
set him up to do that. You know, we were just thinking, hey, I think they would rest
Right.
like that. But yeah,
Right.
he doesn't look that scary. And the minute he's shoulders straighten and he
Yeah.
stands up, it's like, oh,
Right.
crap.
You're having a
Oh.
moment.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice contrast. It's a good pose. It's very natural looking pose.
Yeah, that ended up
But
very
yeah,
cool.
I did get rid of all of this in this file because I had like, I don't know, around 4 million polys in a single max file. It was dying.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
But yeah, I mean, the rig is, it's pretty much done.
Have you ever animated, Sergio?
I haven't even rigged a character before,
So
so
no.
no.
Richard, you've animated, yes?
Animated, yes. Characters, this will be a first. So, like, I'm willing to give it a shot. I like the rig. It's awesome. I've been working on the cat rig on this end, and I'm still learning the specifics about how to animate with it. But I've at least got it to the point that it's attached to and it's affecting the model for Sandra,
All right.
or for Danielle.
Have you ever animated, Steve?
I'm in Richard's boat. Yes, I've never 3D animated characters.
See, I like. Well, I don't know how much it necessarily matters, but I mean, it's just like I think I don't know all the technical things. I mean, I went through the thing in Blender that Zach did with the big ball character
yeah.
guy who
Yeah,
golfed.
I've done
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't consider that character animation.
No, that's not character animation, but that is some basic animation stuff. So I mean, but the thing is, like it's like without the technical issues, I feel like I could be good at that. You know, it's like especially if it was things as complicated as say cutscenes and stuff.
Learn the technical
'Cause
issues, Wolf.
yeah, I mean, I have acting training, and so I could use that to move the characters. I would think. So I have an understanding of that kind of stuff. So
I've done
feel
some 2D animating, so I mean I understand the principles
Right.
of animation and how to create walk cycles and stuff, but I haven't worked
Right.
with rigged 3D characters.
right. I've done a little bit of 2D, some basic 2D animation stuff.
Alrighty, so we can pass that off to Richard, and I'm not gonna lie, that new ZBrush guy with all the spikes, I'm really kind of liking that. But I would,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
cool.
would like,
I like
to
the
get this
attitude there.
current one up and going.
Yeah, I mean, I envisioned the other one like a different class, but
Well,
Right.
that's not a bad idea.
that's why I named it. Well, I doubt you catch that, but I named the file Warrior, and this one I left blank like base,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know, it made more sense. In the way we were talking about it too, I mean, we were saying that they will upgrade to that state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Right.
that idea.
Well, right. That's I was drawing it as a warrior class, which is why I gave mine a little more muscles and stuff than Derek did. So I wanted to make it look more like it was for a warrior class.
Got some pretty good posing going on there, buddy.
Yeah.
Posing is not hard. Animating, that's a different story.
Indeed, that is true.
I mean, posing, you're just dealing with a still, so it's just a frame.
Yeah, the animating interests me a lot. I'd like to learn that. Someone teach me.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean,
I'll take that as an after class.
I can animate spaceships flying around and shooting at each other. That part's relatively simple. Characters, that's going to be an entirely new beast.
Yeah, I like the puppeteer aspect of the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's like you have to. I guess when you render it, don't you have to move it around and make sure that when you move it deforms correctly.
Well,
Basically, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So by the time it gets to the animator, it should be deforming correctly.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
theoretically, and then sometimes that doesn't work, and it comes back from the animator for you to fix.
Right. Right. Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, like right now, the legs are mostly working for my character, but the elbows need a lot of work. The hands definitely need a lot of work. But I mean, I didn't realize that until I started moving the character and setting up different poses. So it's like, okay, go back and figure out how to fix this.
So I don't. I'm thinking that this is probably a big no for the answer. But is there communication between rigging systems? Like if you rigged it in Max, could you animate it in say Blender or something?
I personally have never met with success trying to import a rigged character from one package to another.
What
But
about?
In
I've
theory,
heard
it
there are
can
people
be
that don't
done.
have a problem with it, so
Yeah, in theory, yes, you can, but you have to be very careful about how you rig it and what the naming conventions are when you rig it so that it's recognized by the other package.
And you're also going to run into issues with different packages interpret the X, Y, and Z axes differently. So it could just completely wreck your rig that way too. Like you have to be real careful to make sure that.
Has anyone here ever used? Was it Messiah Studio or something? Messiah.
I have it. I've never
I've
used
never
it.
even heard of it.
Like it's an animate. It's it's for animation. I bought it back when it had that sale. It was
Sale?
all
Yeah.
low, but they were talking about teaching it back when Zach was here. But I never downloaded it or got my code, so I could probably still do that, but I don't know, and I don't know if it's they probably have a newer model or newer version by now, but I don't know. Maybe that might be an easier thing to communicate with than Blender. I don't know, because that's what it's for. You're supposed to be. But then again, you're probably supposed to rig it in there. I don't know. But
No, I've never used Messiah, so I'm not exactly
Right.
sure as far as the workflow or capabilities, but I don't know. From what I've seen of Blender, I personally, I can't stand the workflow, but you can't really beat a free price tag. So, and I know that in terms of capability, Blender can create a character and animate it and rig it just fine. So there's plenty of material out there if you wanted to figure out how to use Blender, if you want to find a way to cope with the workflow that they have there.
yeah, what's that other animation software thing? It's like Motion Builder. I think.
Motion Builder,
Motion Builder,
Autodesk.
yeah, that's more of it's basically a translation program between raw motion capture data and something like Maya or 3D Studio Max.
And I know
So-
that can be a mess. Like you really need the translation software for that.
Yeah. Sadly,
you-
I don't have Motion Builder,
Right.
so
So like for something like that, would you rig it in Motion Builder, or would you rig it before and bring it into Motion Builder and
No.
animate it?
essentially the only thing Motion Builder does is it figures out what parts of your motion captured data do and don't apply to the model that you're using. So you basically have a rig that you import into Motion Builder.
Oh, right.
You tell it which bones correspond to which trackers on the body that you're, dancing around in front of the camera with.
And then you
and
bring
then-
that back into
Exactly.
that rig back into.
Well, yeah, it basically it figures out all the data points. It creates the actual animations, and then you link that back into your software program, and it updates the rig accordingly.
So it kind of rigs it for you,
No,
or you rig it in it.
you have to create the
rig
rig.
it in say 3ds Max, and then you bring it into
Okay.
Motion Builder, and then if you
Yeah.
have a
You
BVH.
connect that skeleton.
Well, no, the skeleton's already set up and everything. You've done all that in Max. What Motion Builder does is if you use like a motion capture software to create your motion, then you're going to tell it what bones correspond to what markers the person was wearing, and then it's going to translate that motion capture file into an animation. But all of the rigging and everything else already has to be done. So it's helpful for the
Okay.
actual animating, but it won't do anything for you for
So-
rigging.
But can you also animate? Is it also a good thing to interact with the animation, or is it
You
just
can animate in it, but you're not really gaining anything over.
gain anything?
Yeah,
So
it's really
yeah,
more for, do you want to hand animate that jumping back spin kick, or do you want to have somebody do a jumping back spin kick and motion capture it, and then have Motion Builder translate that to your rig?
so it's completely different than the Messiah Studio or whatever it's called.
Most likely, I don't know anything about Messiah Studio.
So I think in Messiah Studio, I don't think you model in that. It's just for animation. It's just like a good tool to use for animation, and
Yeah,
it might have some of those features. It might have things where you can do motion as well. But
yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I can't really comment as far as Messiah goes, but
yeah,
when you take the time to learn how to rig and set up a character and all that kind of stuff, whether you use 3D Studio or Maya or Blender, they can all do what you need them to do. If you were going to do motion capture, you would obviously want to use Motion Builder in order to translate the motion capture information and apply it to your character rig. But the modeling and the rigging and all that kind of stuff still has to be done inside the parent program.
And I'm looking at I'm looking real quick at your Messiah Studio. Except for having to shell out hundreds of dollars, yeah, I can see where this would be a very useful thing to have, because then you don't have to rig you can just model it in whatever you've got and bring it into this and rig it from any other package.
yeah. I don't know which one I got, but it's like there was two versions, and I actually paid for both versions, because one was like the like standard one was like just $10, and the other one was for like $30 or $40 or something. So
Well,
I would have got
now
one.
it's
both,
on
but-
sale for $400, so you got a good deal.
Yeah, but I mean that's an older. I'm sure that's sure what they're talking is a newer model. So
But yeah, just to look at it, it's got some pretty cool stuff, including an auto rigger.
yeah, like I don't know what the version that I paid for has in comparison to the new stuff.
You could download it, find out.
Yeah, in theory, if I could find my information, and if they still will give me a code for it.
Oh, it can also do the deformers he needs for his cloth. I'll have to look at that. It's pretty cool. All right, Sergio, you got anything else for us? We're coming up on 2 hours.
Not really.
Then, Richard, I will be coming to you.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right.
Who
I don't know
has
how well you can
wind
see this,
going past their microphone?
I thought it was me, but I turned my fans off and it's still happening.
Is that better?
Yeah, it was you, Wolf.
Yeah, I was leaning back. It's so hot here.
Okay, I don't know how well you can see this, but let's see here. Are you guys seeing anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
with you.
Okay. All right. So this was just basically a quick attempt at creating a baked map within Substance Designer and applying it to a character mesh.
Okay.
So it's the high resolution normal and map information mapped onto the low detail. and there's definitely some issues with the seams, but it did work mostly. So I gotta figure that part of it out, get rid of the seams, and then that should be good to go as far as the baking. And then I can start having some real fun with things like dirt maps and wound maps and stuff like that,
Cool.
which would also apply to clothing and whatnot once the character has that up and running.
Now, can you
And
make her do a backflip?
no animations yet.
Hmm.
But I did get the cat rig working in Max. And so I just set up a quick pose with her holding the gun.
Very nice.
So, like you can see the issues here right at the elbow. What's happening is that these two bones have way too much influence on the elbow, I think. So I'm going to have to try and back it down and see if that'll fix it. But for a first attempt at rigging, it's not terrible, I hope.
Well, she's standing there holding the gun, so I don't think we can use the word terrible. Yeah, it's got a little bit of work to go, but is that the low poly version of her?
Yes.
You too can be higher poly. I can tell just by looking at
All right. Yeah, the actual poly count for the character is 2428, so it's about twice the detail that Surge has on his, but
Not quite tight. He's got like 14 or 1500 polys. He's
Okay.
in the 3000s on tries. So
Okay.
you're not that far out of him. But yeah, you can get away with a little more. I mean, I know
All right.
it's an MMO and we don't want to go crazy, but guys, remember, a character these days in a not MMO might have up to 30,000 polys. That's the low poly one. So
Yeah.
we've got room to play.
well, I think what I'll probably be doing is I'll definitely add some more detail in at the joints, because like the rest of it for the character, like for the legs and the shins and whatnot, parts that don't really move, doesn't need a whole lot. But definitely around the
Yeah, I would spin them around your joints.
yeah. So yeah, like here again, you've got some pinching along the knee that I have to deal with, but it's not leaving any vertices behind, so I'm quite happy
Yeah,
with
that's a
that.
heck of a start. I have seen a lot of people when they're playing with animation, the minute they move something, a vertex shoots off 10,000 meters away, and it just
Yeah.
all kinds of bizarre stuff. So
Well, I have to fix the head a little bit, and I think you'll see why.
yeah,
Oh.
that's a problem. The-
You just got hit
No.
really hard.
Ooh.
She's reenacting the scream.
Right.
So yeah, it's a start.
and this
And
is using your cat
You guys will
rig,
never
right?
see this, but yeah. And you guys will never see this, but just to make sure I have the size of the weapon properly set up, I set up the bullets and made sure they would all fit in the chamber.
Not OCD at
Right.
all.
She could have
Richard.
she could have a see-through gun.
And the slide works.
Be kind of cool. See that, see-through gun, so you can see all that happening.
Yeah, the one problem I had, and I ran into an issue when I was trying to project maps onto the, with Substance Designer. It wasn't yielding any results whatsoever. I couldn't figure out why, and I have since learned just how important it is to set up your units in your scene before you start
Oh,
working. Because I used to just set stuff up and then I would scale it later. And what I discovered happened was the the weapon that I chose was basically the prototype for the energy pistol that I set up. And the scene, it was basically, physically, it was scaled so that it would fit properly in somebody's hand at the average height, 5'10", that sort of thing. It was the correct size for that, but the world was set up so that one max unit was 1 kilometer.
Wow.
So, needless to say, it was so frickin' tiny, and apparently Substance Designer takes the physical size of the object into account. So it was doing ray traces, and it couldn't detect anything.
1 kilometer.
And
man.
so-
Go big or go home, Richard.
Yeah. So I tried taking that model and importing it into a scene that was properly set up, and I discovered that there are imprecisions when it's setting that up, and it tears the mesh to shreds. So I don't know how well you can see it on this one, but the same thing happened here to a lesser degree with the receiver. Let's just see here.
Ooh.
This area here was supposed to be nice, crisp, clean, square, and it
Yeah,
isn't.
It's pulling it all over.
Yeah. So the good news is that I've learned, the bad news is I have to redo this model, but the good news is I've learned quite a bit between this and the energy weapon that I made. So when I had to recreate that, it was done in about 2 hours. So this will be, hopefully, about the same.
Well, and as you said a couple of times, you learned. And that's what
Yep.
you're here for. So,
And you know, when you destroy your model like that, at the very least, it makes for great practice.
and great entertainment.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, the
I wasn't very
entertainment's for the rest
entertained
of
when it
us, Richard.
happened. Oh, okay, I got you.
I've set up my units wrong. I don't think I've ever even had max on kilometers.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it got on there either, because I've never bothered setting them up. So,
That's kind of hilarious. So your gun was really, really tiny, or your gun was the size of a building?
no, it was, if I had modeled it according to the size of the schematic, it would have been the size of a building. But when I was finished with that, I had scaled it down in that scene. I created a reference image
Oh,
of
gotcha.
a box that was 5'8" to get the general size right. And by that point, it was so friggin' tiny that when you import it at the proper size, it
It
couldn't figure everything out.
find it. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry
Well,
to
like,
laugh at your pain, but that's
it
pretty
imported.
funny.
Well, like, essentially, when you import it into the correct scene, it knows how big that object is physically. So it does import it with the correct physical dimensions. It appears as it should for a scene that is scaled, for example, in centimeters. Problem is that the data from that is so infinitesimal when you're dealing with a scene that's modeled in kilometers that it can't figure out where all the vertices are supposed to go, so it just kind of mashes them all together, and it's a really disgusting mess. It's a rat's nest.
And can't you set it up on the original file?
I tried that. It still didn't seem to fix the problem. So
No, but once you resize the weapon, do an X form on it, reset it. Otherwise, the scale, even if you use the scale tool, it will. I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know it doesn't. It doesn't update the info on the scale, even if you use the scale tool or something like that. I don't remember correctly, but I know that if you don't reset the object, like going to the applying an X form and collapsing it, basically, it kind of it can give you trouble. But try that, and I don't know, maybe you don't have to redo the model.
Okay. Well, I've still got the original model for the pistol, so I'll try that with this scene and see if that behaves.
Okay. I mean, I
I have
say
no idea where
mostly
the file is.
to save it. In the last tab, you have the creation tab, the modification tab, the last one.
Yeah.
You go to reset
Okay.
X form. You select the weapon reset X form. Well, it won't work in here. It will work in the original if you set the units correctly. But um, when you press that button, it will give you reset selected underneath, and that will add a modifier on the stack.
Okay.
But it's simple. Once you have that, you collapse it and you're done.
Now, essentially what that does is the X form gets rid of any rotation information and resets your scale to 100%.
Basically.
Okay, I gotcha.
But it's resetting X form. It's a good idea to do a lot of time, but if you're trying to use it to fix something, you're at your last resort if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if he sets the units correctly in the original file, then scales the weapon, and then
He might get away with it because he has sub-objects. There's the possibility that it's still going to go wrong.
yeah.
But yeah, you might get lucky, basically.
All right. Yeah, there's some tearing even on the slide here, so yeah, I'll give that a try once we're done here, and then see if that fixes it.
What? I'm sorry. Why do you have so many edit poly in the?
Oh, I rarely ever collapse anything until I know for sure that I'm finished, and there's always something to tweak. So, just in case I want to go back to an earlier version.
Yeah, it's okay. I just what I do is just export the object.
So
Okay.
basically, you keep your stack and he keeps saves, incremental saves.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I keep stacks and incremental saves, but
What Richard's really trying to say is that Richard's OCD about his modeling.
that's a polite way of putting it. Yeah. I discovered that I had to collapse this character mesh in order to make it work with the skin modifier, and I was a little bit ticked about that. But it works, so I'm okay.
Alrighty, well, I would say that you learned a lot and had some successes, so we'll call that a win. And then we'll just have to go in
Agreed.
and fix what we need to fix. But yeah, I would definitely spend some more polys around the elbows, knees, facial area.
Probably along the shoulder too.
You've got an easy 1,000 to spend. So.
Yeah, and I'll probably put some along the torso as well, just so that if she needs to twist right now, that doesn't really work so well.
Oh yeah, but that's horrific. Because yeah, those are some big polys right there.
Well, right now the only one that actually has an effect.
That's not as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's pretty bad around the hips, but
yeah, but because you don't have weights to the other bones.
okay, yeah. Just have to go through
it,
and figure that out too.
Let me select the skin modifier for a second and go down in the or up, yeah. You have wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of bones. Okay, that's why. It's just that there's no...
there it is. It's not weighted to the other bones, so it's pulling with the upper spine bone. It's pulling the other places too.
Okay, that would explain why her face is warping.
Yeah.
See, now you've learned more.
You
Yeah.
you can edit the envelopes like you're doing there, or if you go down a bit in the panel, in the tool panel, or you can do that too.
What was the other one you were thinking?
Paint weights. Uh, there. A
Down a
bit.
bit more. Paint weights right under there.
Yeah, a bit more.
No, up.
Oh, geez.
The
Okay.
button. You have a three-dotted button next to it, next to paint weights. That will let you control the brush, but if you click on paint weights, you can actually paint it by hand. And if you
Okay.
press Alt, it will reduce the weight that you. It's always working on the selected bone, but yeah, you can play if you press Alt and paint around the face, it will get rid of that.
Hmm.
It's going gradually, but it should at least.
Oh, that's adding. That's adding. Ah.
Uncheck the paint blend weight and do it now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Boom.
There we go. Yeah, if you press the three-dotted button,
Yeah.
you have max strength there, and you have the max size, so you can regulate that.
Okay.
Well, it's just for you to play.
Oh, nice.
That will give you
Okay.
a bit more of control.
Sorry, what was that?
That will give you more control over it than the actual envelopes. And you can do one size and go to mirror mode, but if you want, we can. I don't know how my times are this week, but maybe I can show it to you in over TeamViewer or Skype or whatever. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
Have you guys tried using TeamViewer together?
Not
Not
yet.
yet, no. I did finally get it reinstalled, so.
All right. If push comes to shove and you're not getting anything that works effectively, if you give me and Nelson a day's notice, we can set up a go-to-meeting for you guys.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Cool.
I can't promise we'll be able to hang out with you, but we can set it up.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. If TeamViewer blows up in our face, then we can set that up.
Yeah, we basically pay to have so many seats all the time every month, so we can schedule something whenever we feel like it. So.
Sweet.
And since we pay for it, hey, may as well use it once in a while.
What the heck? Oh,
What happened?
wow.
You're snapping.
What's that, sorry?
You have snap on. Press the S key.
Oh,
The A key. No, what
off.
is that? I thought it was something like a gizmo. Sorry. Never mind. I didn't say anything.
That's all good.
All right, guys.
I thought I had imported a clean copy of the gun, but apparently it kept one of the reference objects I used to cut in the rear sights.
Oh.
Nick, are you coming next week, bud?
Yeah, I think I should be able to. I've got a bunch of relatives in town next week. That's the only reason why I'm a little
All right,
dubious.
but presumably for the next month or so, we'll still have you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
terrible.
Wow, that's awesome. I would save a JPEG of that just for history.
Done and done.
All right, in that case, guys, we're running at 2.5 hours. So unless you have anything else, Richard, I'll let you guys get together and work on that, and we will get together again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, you are all full of awesome, except for Nick, who's might leave me. He's only
I'm
half
terrible.
full of awesome now. But other than that, I thank you guys. You've done some incredible work again this week, and we will see you next week.
Sounds
All right,
good.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.